Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, ranking every takeover in NBA 2K21, number 8 through number 1. So hope y'all enjoy the video. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all the good stuff. Let's try these 1 to 1.5k likes in the first 24 hours. And as you can see, we got all 8 of the takeovers. We got lock, playmaker, post, sharp, rim, slash, glass, and shot creator. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through these one by one and give my brief explanation on why they are in the position they are on my list. And if you have any disagreements or you want to leave a comment, leave your feedback, feel free to. Tell me what your number 1 takeover is in 2K21 and the reason for it. But anyway, we're going to get straight into this. Alright, so coming in number 8 in my worst takeover on the list, we have the playmaker takeover. Now there's been a whole lot of talk about this recently on the YouTube, most specifically Joe Knows talking about how this is one of the most underrated takeovers, but in all honesty, I feel like the reason it's considered underrated is because a lot of us know this is not very good. Now, the one good thing about this takeover is it helps your teammates shoot well as obviously makes you faster, but that's going to depend on whether or not you can shoot well in the first place, if that even matters, because if people can just sag off on you entirely, it doesn't matter how fast you are. You're not really getting anywhere if you're not going to be able to shoot wide open. Anyway, my whole point with this, obviously this helps your teammates shoot pretty well, but at the same time, I feel like it would be so much better and so much more useful if it was like 2K17 where the Gram badge actually enabled you to snap ankles like crazy, but that's just not the case in this game. We all know the deal on the ankle breakers in this game. I feel like it's almost an extinct thing entirely, and they need to patch ankle breaker just as a badge in general. It's a completely useless badge to run. This takeover itself is pretty much useless to run, and that's why it's coming at number 8 on the list. Alright, coming in number 7 on the list, we have rim protector. Now the reason for this one is going to be mostly the utility and the usefulness of the takeover. So we all know the deal. This is actually a very easy one to activate. You can get really good takeover progress from just shot contest, blocks, all types of stuff like that. But the thing about it is, how useful really is it in this game that's completely play sharp oriented, where the inside bigs of the pure rims and stuff like that, right, who are going to be setting screens? Your rim protector takeover isn't exactly the most useful thing in the world, especially considering there's play sharps that are like 6'5" that can play good interior defense. So the usefulness and actual ability of the rim protector takeover becomes a little bit devalued at how easy interior defense is to play in this game. Now when it comes to stopping post scores and post hooks, I don't even know that this really makes you enabled to do that. Now this is not a horrible takeover for the 1v1 court, considering you're going to be playing a lot of those slashers and post scores, but just from an overall usefulness of just the whole game in general, this is not one of the best takeovers, and that's why I got it coming in number 7. And on that note of the defensive takeovers not being too effective, we have lockdown coming in number 6. Now, the reason I have this a little bit higher than the rim protector takeover, I feel like perimeter defense enhancement is a whole lot more important than interior defense enhancement. But just in general, we all know how defense functions in this game. Now, I talked about in my video yesterday how a lot of people are complaining about the defense in 2K21, and I feel like it's not as justified as it sounds, but either way, we all know the sliding on defense is really bad. Lockdown takeover will help you with that, but even at that, I mean, it's still a factor of the game, and it's still a function that is broken, and there's not much to help the sliding on defense, even having 99 lateral quickness, as I've seen myself. Now let's talk about what this takeover is good for. So we know the on-ball steals, the bumps, the forced pickups, and the passing lanes. All 4 of those things are super impactful, especially on 3v3 court, even for 2s, whether you're guarding the bigs, whether you're guarding the PGs. Either way is super beneficial, but there's not a lot to talk about with this takeover, which is why it's coming in number 6. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, if you've subbed to the channel since the start of 2K21, or if you haven't and you want to check out this video, the first video that I uploaded on 2K21 was showing all attributes boosted by every takeover. The lockdown and slasher takeover go crazy with the attributes boosted. I'm talking you get everything. Not obviously you don't get 3-pointer, mid-range, ball handling, stuff like that, but you get insane physical attribute boost. You get speed, acceleration, strength, lateral quickness, perimeter defense, all types of stuff is getting boosted by this takeover when it comes to the attributes. It's just the ability of the takeover is not the most effective, and that's why we have it at number 6. Coming number 5 is the shot creator takeover. This one's very self-explanatory. Super 2v2 heavy takeover where you're going to be benefiting your off dribble shots and your fades, whatever it may be. So whether it's the hop jumpers, the fades from the mid-range, the 3-point line, wherever, it's going to help you. But I will say, this takeover, it's definitely just the little brother of Sharp takeover. I feel like Sharp is just better at this in every category other than for the sake of doing your hop jumpers and stuff like that. But either way, it's still a pretty solid takeover. Boost your ball handling as well, so that's one solid thing about it too. And obviously, for the sake of, being able to perform certain dribble moves, you're not going to unlock certain animations, but it's still going to allow you to do certain things as well to have that ball control boost. Anyway, my whole point about this, I just feel like if we're talking from a 3v3 or a pro-am stance, I feel like there's really no point in running this over Sharp takeover. And I will say, there's not a lot of people out there who use the shot creator takeover properly. Ticino was probably the only dude I've seen as far as content creators use this takeover properly, and props to him too for making that work, because I feel like this one takes a whole lot of practice and a whole lot of skill. You got to memorize a whole lot of different jump shot timings and stuff like that, and the way that he does it over different servers on top of that with different delay timings and stuff. Crazy, man. But anyway, like I said, I feel like I just don't see enough people with this takeover for me to put it any higher on the list, but I do still understand anything to do with scoring in this game. As far as the takeovers, they're super dominant. All right, man, so coming in number 4, we have the glass takeover. So this one right here, I gotta say, way more dominant this year than it was last year. And it's not that the ability or the actual takeover itself has been enhanced, it's just more so that inside bigs are more relevant. So you guys know the deal, the pure rim protectors, even the blue-red pie charts, but definitely the pure rim protectors are super relevant in this game. We all know pure red paint beast or the two-way finisher that I have at point guard that I still run as the big man. Either way, you guys get the deal. The glass takeover, super dominant. Obviously, the more you're around the rim as a big man, the more this takeover is going to be useful. If you're one of those pure reds, super easy takeover to activate too, because you're going to be around the rim a whole lot more often, grabbing rebounds on offense and defense. Now, that is the one thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this takeover that a lot of people make the mistake of. So let's talk about the rim sharps out there, the red and green pie chart, anywhere from around, I would say 6'7" to like 7 foot or 7'1", right? All these people, they put this glass takeover on, and I just never understand it, because then on the offensive end, all they ever do is pick and pop, pick and pop, pick and pop. They never go toward the hoop. They're never going to be around the rebound in the first place. And what good is glass takeover if it only works on defense? The one pro to this takeover that is most notable in my eyes is that it works on both sides of the court. But if you're a rim sharp, you're only heavily using this takeover on one side of the court, and that would be defense. On offense, you're doing a ton of pick and pop, staying away from the rim, and you're constantly around the three-point line. It's easy box outs, or half the time you're so slow that your opponent doesn't even have to box you out in the first place because you're just so far away from the rebound potential. But anyway, coming to number 4, like I said, we got the glass takeover. Coming to number 3 on my list, we have the post score takeover. Now, I want to get this out of the way right now. I know everybody's going to be asking, why is it at number 3? Everybody knows how extremely dominant and unstoppable this thing is when it comes to the 1v1 and the 2v2 court. But on threes, it's completely irrelevant. If you're taking contested 2-point shots on the 3v3 court, even if they're post hooks, it's still completely useless. Now, the only lineup that I could see be viable on this 3v3 court when it comes to like having somebody as a post scorer and post takeover would be if they ran with like two-way sharps, or even like if they wanted to get super toxic, they could run 2 pure locks and both of them can't paint and just duplicate what you do on the 2v2 court, where it's going to be one guy just camping paint and snagging boards. Instead, you'd have 2 of them. Honestly, that's crazy because I've never even thought about that until this point. But anyway, my whole point with the post score takeover, obviously the reason it's a little bit higher on the list than, you know, anywhere from 4 to 8 is because of crazy ability on this 1v1 court and 2v2 court. Really, when it comes down to it, is post takeover OP or are post scores OP? Obviously, we all know post scores are super OP, but what this post takeover does for you, as far as the post spins, the drop steps, the post hooks going in at an even more alarming rate, this post takeover is super dominant. Obviously, we all know for the 1v1 and 2v2 court, super relevant, and that's why we got it number 3. But like I said, just isn't super effective on the 3v3 court. Coming in number 2 spot, we have slash take, and obviously that would leave only one other takeover option, which is sharp takeover. So we'll just go ahead and put that in the number 1 spot. We'll come back to that in a second, but we're going to talk about the slash takeover. So obviously, this one right here, a walking bucket. I'm talking it's going to be great for any court. Not necessarily so much the 3v3 court, but it still has a purpose, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But for the 1v1 court, easy contact dunks, make contested layups at a little bit higher of a rate. I'm still going to say contested layups, they're not the best thing in general in this game, especially the standing layups. We all know, I mean, that thing can be contested by literally 6'1" PLAYSHARP with 30 interior defense. But for the driving layups, it definitely helps. It's going to increase the size of your meter as well if you are somebody who runs the meter. And I mean, let's just be real. The contact dunks, 1v1 court, 2v2 court, super dominant. Draws double teams if you're on 2s. And then for 3s, I would say it makes you a great lob catching option. Definitely boost your speed, ball handling, all types of stuff like that. If you're a hybrid build who is going to have, you know, intermediate ball handling ability or speed, and you want to be like some hybrid that can handle the ball, and you're going to ISO out your slasher ability, I mean, to have slash take on, it's super effective. And I think what makes this takeover even more dominant is the fact that you can play as a role player all game with it, and then as soon as it pops on, become the star player. So I'm talking you can play as a big man, play backseat, just set screens, catch lobs, all types of stuff like that. And then as soon as your takeover pops on, you go crazy. You don't need your point guard or anybody to help you at scoring the ball, or, you know, have someone else carry the scoring load. It can just be all you. Or if you're somebody who just uses the flashy passer mechanics, we all know, if you know, you know. I'm going to just put it like that. Anyway, coming at number 1, we have the sharp takeover. most universal, best takeover in the game. It can be used on any court, especially the 3v3 court. By far, I would say the only relevant takeover on the 3v3 court, because lock takes too long to get on. Glass takeover, I feel like that's still pretty useful on the threes, and then slash takeover, not really too effective. I would say lock is involved in that as well, but anyway, you guys get the deal. Sharp takeover, super dominant on the 3v3 court, draws so much attention on the 2v2 court. And then when it comes to ISO, whether it be on the 1v1 court where it's just you and your defender, or if we're talking twos where there's a help defender, anything like that, right? Let's just put it like this. ISO with sharp takeover equals a walking bucket. And no matter what, they have to respect your jump shot. You can bang the whites at any given moment. Your ability to green obviously is enhanced that much more, and as soon as they have to step up super high in this ISO situation, you're just blowing right past them because they give you no space as far as, like, you know, trying to drive by them, and boom, you're just gone. And then as far as 3v3 goes, you can definitely double team the sharp takeover to stop him from scoring, but just like that, it's walking buckets for your big man. And if he has something like Showtime or something like that, and they make it super easy for you to make the pass to him, just like that, now you're getting crazy takeover progress for your big man and your lockdown, and obviously you already have takeover activated, so it's not going to help you. But either way, you guys get the deal. Attention is drawn straight to this sharp takeover, whether it be for ISO situations, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, pro-am, whatever it may be. You can set off-ball screens for it to get it more involved, whether it be a role player. Like I said, for the point guard option, super effective. And even for the bigs out there, the rim sharps who decided to go a little bit lower on their wingspan and maybe go around like 6'8" to 6'7", something like that. I'm not sure what height caps you had to have to get the sharp takeover. Either way, I know you had to take your wingspan down just a little bit. But for the rim sharps out there who went with the sharp takeover, it's going to help you progressively, because it's going to boost your 3-point rating even before your takeover gets popped on. So just like that, even for hitting only 1 or 2 threes, or if you're just grabbing rebounds and it's still boosting your takeover meter, it's going to help your jump shot one way or another. Anyway, that's all for the vid. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. Like I said in the intro, let's try to get 1 to 1.5k likes in the first 24 hours. If you made it to the end of the video, put takeover in the comments to show your support. And real quick, I'm going to pin the first comment that tells me the answer to this, but for all my 90s kids out there, all right? The color coding on the ranking of the numbers, so we're talking first place, second place, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. What game is it from? And the hint that I'm going to give is the racing game. I want to see who can answer this, and whoever answers it right first, I'm going to pin their comment, and whoever doesn't watch the video all the way through, they're going to be super confused by the pinned comment. But anyway, I'm very curious as to who knows this stuff, because I did this on purpose and I wanted to see who catches. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. And other than that, hope y'all enjoyed. Take it easy, man. Peace.